Welcome to Tarot's Landing, a place where we explore tarot old and new, the well-worn archetypes and the strange living edges of the deck. Settle in, take a breath, and let's see what wants to be seen. A quick note before we begin. Not every reading is for everyone. If what comes through speaks to you, if it feels like language for something you've been carrying, then you're in the right place. And if at any point it starts to drift away from you, that's not a mistake. Let it pass like weather. We'll be here and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. As I tune in, I'm getting a clear, bracing kind of energy, like the moment right before a decision finally gets made. There's a sense of truth rising from underneath the surface, of old patterns asking to be accounted for, and a threshold you can't cross with the same stories you've been using to stay comfortable. The invitation feels simple, but not easy. Move with honesty. Pause where you've been forcing and choose what's worth your time, because something is ready to shift. Alright, so this first card coming forward is the Knight of Swords, and immediately this tells me there is something in your life that does not want to stay vague anymore. This is the energy of a truth rising fast, a decision, a conversation, a realization. Something that has been circling in the mind is now asking to become action. And for a lot of you, this feels like the moment where you stop negotiating with your own hesitation. You know what something is. You know what needs to be said, or chosen, or cut away. Now, the gift of this card is clarity, courage, momentum, but the warning is just as strong. Do not let urgency become recklessness. The Knight of Swords can be brilliant when he moves with purpose, but harsh when he confuses being right with being wise. So if this is your card, I'm hearing say the honest thing, but say it cleanly. Make the move, send the message, ask the question, but don't use truth as a weapon. This is about clearing the air, not burning the bridge. There's real power here for you. The fog is lifting. Just make sure, before you charge, that you're actually moving toward truth and not simply away from discomfort. Okay, so this second card is Undercity, and this is where the reading drops beneath the surface, because paired with the Knight of Swords, this tells me the truth you're being asked to face is not just about a single moment or conversation. It goes deeper than that. There's an underlying structure here, an old pattern, an avoided cost, a buried feeling, an unspoken agreement that has been quietly shaping what's happening now. Undercity says what's been ignored is still active. What hasn't been accounted for is still part of the outcome. So for some of you, this is emotional debt. For others, it is exhaustion, resentment, a boundary that was never clearly set, or a situation built on, I'll deal with it later, and now later is here. What I really want to say with this card is don't just react to the symptom. Don't only focus on the message, the argument, the decision in front of you. Ask what foundation it's sitting on. What has been neglected? What have you been carrying that you never named? This card is actually powerful because it gives you a chance to stop repeating the same loop in a different costume. So if the Knight says, be honest, Undercity says, be honest about the whole system. Not just what happened, but what made it possible. That's where the real shift begins. Alright, and now this third card coming in is Empty Quiver. And honestly, this changes the texture of the reading in a really important way. Because after the Knight of Swords says move, and Undercity says look at the deeper structure, Empty Quiver says you cannot solve this by sheer force anymore. For some of you, this is the moment where you realize you've been spending a lot of energy trying to get certainty, trying to get an answer, trying to make something happen through effort alone. And this card says the old way of pushing is exhausted. Not because you failed, but because it's no longer the right tool. There's something very humbling here. You may be reaching for the same strategy, the same argument, the same emotional reflex, and finding that it just doesn't land anymore. The target has changed, or maybe the real target was never what you thought it was. So this card asks a deeper question. What are you actually trying to secure here? Control, reassurance, closure, validation, truth? Because empty quiver is not a punishment card. It's a pause card. It's the moment where life says, stop firing into the fog. Listen, reassess. Let the silence tell you what action cannot. So if this is your message, I'd say, don't panic if your usual approach isn't working. That's the reading. The breakthrough is not in doing more, it's in understanding more clearly what you were really chasing all along. So far, this reading is moving with a very clear progression. The Knight of Swords brings the truth to the surface and asks for honesty, directness, and a real decision. Undercity says this isn't just about the moment in front of you, it's about the deeper pattern underneath it, the hidden structure that's been shaping things all along. And now Empty Quiver reminds us that this can't be solved by force, overthinking, or pushing harder. So we've gone from clarity to depth to pause. And that tells me the next cards are likely going to show us what happens if you actually listen to this truth and where this shift is trying to take you. Alright, and now this fourth card is Blind Gate. And this feels like the threshold in the reading, because after the Knight of Swords brings the truth up fast, Undercity takes you down into the deeper structure, and Empty Quiver says you cannot force your way forward anymore. Blind Gate says the next step is real change, not just insight, not just awareness, a crossing. But this is important. This card is not about having all the answers before you move. It's actually the opposite. It's about coming to the edge of something where the old strategy no longer works, and you are being asked to step forward without the usual guarantees. For a lot of you, this is the moment where life says you do not get to bring every old story with you. You do not get to carry the identity, the defense, the certainty, the backup plan that kept you safe before. Something has to be set down. And I'm really hearing this card as a question. What are you willing to become if you stop asking what will happen first? That's the gate. This is a powerful card. It says the shift is available. The door is here. But it opens inward through honesty, through surrender, through alignment. So if you've been waiting for perfect clarity before you change, this card says clarity may come because you change. Alright, and this fifth card is Time of Your Life. And honestly, this feels like the card that brings the whole reading into focus, because after everything we've seen, the truth rising, the deeper pattern underneath it, the realization that force won't solve it, and then this threshold of real change, this final card asks a very simple, very serious question. What are you going to do with your life energy now? This is about time, yes, but more than that, it's about attention. What gets your hours gets your life. And I really feel this card saying that you are being shown very clearly where your time has been going by default and where it now needs to go by choice. So for many of you, this is a call to stop living in later. Stop postponing the thing that matters. Stop furnishing your days around obligation, fear, or habit, and start making room for what you actually want to be building. This card doesn't ask for a dramatic reinvention. It asks for an honest one. One real decision, one door closed, one door opened. So if this reading is for you, the message here is the shift is not only emotional or spiritual, it has to become practical. Put the truth on the calendar. Give your energy to what will still matter when you look back. Because this card says your life is not waiting for you somewhere ahead. It's being made now. It was a pleasure doing this reading for you. Please subscribe for more readings.